fellow beings, and welcome to This Week I'm Learning, the podcast where us friends learn cool things throughout the week and bring our learnings back to all of you fine folks. We're back after a couple-week break and ready to hit the ground running. This is now Season 4, overall Episode 91, recorded July 11th, 2022, and I'm your host, Brandon Vader. I am also joined today to my, well, would be my left, your right, I don't know, over that direction, Seeker4761, also known as Colton Roper, and then down below me, below us, Fake Farang, also known as Tim Rhind. And how are you fine folks today?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, very good. A little sleepy, but otherwise
Fair enough.
okay. Getting up with the new edition during the night, and so on.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a four-legged new edition, just to make things clear. I don't want people to think otherwise.
Timmy boy still
Fair
got
enough.
it. Still a six-gun shooter in the West.
Oh yeah.
Well, it is going to be a normal episode. We are still minus Cody. He is still doing the Thai school stuff. So, Colton is going to talk to us about how random truly is psychedelic. Far out, man.
And Tim's got two TimBits for us this week. A working joy and poo samples, apparently. I assume those are related? Or they're not.
No, they're not.
Or they're horribly not. I don't know how I feel about either, so we'll find out.
Well, the people who do the poo samples might have working joy too. I suppose that's possible.
Sure hope so. Hope they get something out of it.
Yeah. And Brandon has becoming a summoner.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's what you're going to... Okay. That's cool.
Well, it was either becoming a summoner or becoming a necromancer.
Little D&D stuff behind your head there.
Yes.
Somehow I wonder if it has to do with the audio that we keep hearing in the background. I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out.
Well, Colton, take us away. Talk about the psychedelic of random.
Freaking psychedelic and goddamn tech companies are funny and truly interesting sometimes. But Brandon, in this specifically for you, I have a question. So, well, not really a question, more of a general statement about your learning and your career choices. You have experience in programming and coding, right?
Yes, that is what my degree is in.
Of course. And Tim, I think you're somewhat familiar as well, at least with the basics.
The basics, yeah.
Just the basics. I mean,
Okay.
it's good enough.
Yeah.
So, question. Can you code a program that will make a random sequence of numbers? Is it possible to be truly random?
Not without some sort of external sensor.
So Brandon's right. Technically, the answer is no. All current known software is in fact deterministic, which means for any given input, the output will always be the same. Doesn't matter, always the same. Programs, so if you think of like RNG, the concept of RNG, programs like random number generators, they're not really random because of that fact. They're pseudo-random. So from a human perspective, though, these programs are random, but because the output can be predictive, it is not random in the eyes of cybersecurity. Computers are based on logic and therefore predictable. So if you wanted to say secure servers with a randomly generated numerical key, the key shouldn't be generated by a computer because another computer could probably figure that out.
Okay. That makes, sorry to interrupt, that makes, remember when I used to use PGP, you had to do something random, in order to generate your own key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you couldn't let the computer make it because technically it's not random.
I can't remember what it was, moving on a mouse pad or something like that, or I can't remember what it was. Yeah.
So now the science behind all of this is called cryptography, which is basically securing information using mathematical concepts. Encryption, public keys, algorithms, and more use some sort of cryptography for security. But some companies have taken encryption to a whole new level, always searching for the next big thing in cybersecurity. So this brings me to what I actually wanted to talk about. And we might have talked about this before, and I know Brandon knows about this. At least Cody knows. I'm assuming Brandon does too. It's a company called Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare is a major player on the modern internet. They provide anti-DDoS attack services as well as DNS services for thousands of websites. It's just they're a backbone company of the internet, super important. So it makes sense that a hacker would see Cloudflare as a great juicy target. But here's the thing. Cloudflare knows this, and they don't just secure it. They don't secure their servers with just a random number generator. They actually take randomness from real life to make this work. And specifically, this is the psychedelic part, they actually use a wall of lava lamps in a lobby of one of their offices in San Francisco, specifically, I think,
Yep.
to help with their randomness. So basically what happens is a camera continually takes photos of a wall of, I think, 100 lava lamps. They take the color and luminosity value of each pixel, use that data to generate a truly random number, because basically lava lamps are truly random. They could not be predicted, at least with the mathematical concepts that we have now. They take that data, combine it with a regular pseudo-random number generator, and across 2 Linux machines, and they get a highly secure key that they use for securing their servers. And it's pretty fucking wild that this thing is just in their lobby of their San Francisco office. If you want to figure it out, it's right there. But doesn't matter. Like, people will walk in front of the camera all the time, and it just adds to the unpredictability of the generator. And it's pretty cool that this isn't the only random thing that this company uses. So in their London office, they actually take pics of a double pendulum, and based on their mathematical position, whatever, it is technically impossible to predict the position at any one time of where it is in any 1 second state. It's just impossible with a double pendulum. I don't know if anyone knew that, but that's actually pretty wild. Like, a single pendulum, super predictive, but you add another pendulum on that pendulum, impossible to predict. Unless you know the... Well, actually, I don't even know if you know the initial conditions as well. It's probably like weather. Like, technically weather is predictable, but you need to know so much initial... Like, the data itself needs to be so perfect. Yeah, it's impossible, right?
Yeah.
It's like a 3-body...
Okay, so...
Go ahead.
To be clear, double pendulum, because I thought it was 2 separate pendulums.
No, it's a pendulum hanging off of another pendulum.
Yes. So you've got your first length, you've got your anchor point, you've got your first length, you've got your first body, and then off of that you have another anchor point, another length, and then your second body. And it's...
So from what I understand, it's the farther you get away from the initial, where you release it, the farther off the prediction becomes. So, in the first swing, you can probably get pretty close. Second swing's a little less accurate, and so on and so forth, until it's mathematically impossible to predict. Jesus, just like English, apparently, for me. It's the concept of, the 3-body problem in, astrophysics. Because two planetary bodies, super easy to predict. You add a third body in it, impossible. Same concept. The initial conditions have to be so mathematically perfect that it is literally impossible, at least with what we have with our current mathematical understanding of the universe. It's actually pretty wild when I'm probably going to do a topic on mathematics. If you get just add a tiny bit of complexity to just very basic problems, turns out we don't know shit about anything. Pretty damn cool, honestly. But their Singapore office, Cloudflare, back to the topic at hand, they actually use the randomness of radioactive decay and a very, very incredibly tiny amount of uranium for their randomness and their security. Because, again, it's impossible to predict when a uranium atom will, in fact, decay. Can't do it right now. Maybe one day when we understand quantum physics a little better, but no. So that's, I mean, pretty fucking cool, honestly. I mean, it's just there, but you could know all the outputs of whatever the key is going to be, but you'll never be able to actually break it from a sense, at least, again, with current cryptography breaking methods. You will never be able to actually have both sides of the key to break into something because it's truly random, and you can't predict. Randomness is basically unpredictable, which is why math has problems with randomness as well. So, something kind of what I learned about this week. It's pretty cool shit and pretty fun.
Nice.
So, kind of a short one, but I thought it was cool.
No, it's freaking awesome. I knew about the lava lamps. I didn't know about the other stuff, though.
See, and I think a lot of people knew about the lava lamps, but the more I dug into it, I'm like, God damn, these guys really take it seriously, and they don't even do the same. Like, yeah, you could just do lava lamps all over the world for every office, but where's the fun in that? It's like art and science like coming together. It's very cool that this freaking backbone of the internet just does it. Pretty cool. Cool shit. I think it's fun, and I like math.
Yeah. Blows my mind sometimes, that cryptography.
Cool shit.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just going to get more and more important as our world becomes more and more cyber-based, if we live that long.
Steganography.
Yeah, right? Oh, yeah. Encryption, just super freaking cool. It's very cool shit, all of it. But what also is cool shit... Oh, I'm too fucking proud of this. Tim, tell us about your TimBits this week.
Oh, okay. Well, Microsoft, this is a courtesy of ZDNet.com. Microsoft has a department whose job is to find out about the morale of the employees, and they call it deep surveillance or employee listening systems. And you would think it sounds
doesn't sound bad at all.
Sounds terrible.
Systems. But anyways, a couple of executives wanted to discover how Microsoft's employees are feeling about their lives at Microsoft, and so they did some research.
Some research.
Yes, some research.
Some research.
So you think that happiness at work would be, of course, maybe related to pay, time off, fringe benefits, maybe teamwork. But they found in doing their measurements that for people to thrive at the workplace, to be energized, to feel empowered, is to give them a little bit more autonomy. And a lot of employees just weren't who weren't thriving. It was bureaucracy, collaboration, and all these were issues. But what they found out, the real problem with not having any working joy was the following. Okay. Employees needed fewer collaboration hours. They needed fewer employees in their internal network. So in essence, you would think, a lot more teamwork is going to give you joy. But in fact, too much collaboration, too many meetings, definitely took away from the joy. And in the end, there's a lot more details in the article, but they just in their work week span, they wanted 5 fewer collaboration hours, 3 more focus hours, and as I said, 17 fewer employees in their internal network size. So what it basically falls down is they want more time to be able to actually do the job that they're being paid to do.
What a fucking concept!
With all these friggin' distractions, and I can relate this to my own work experience. I mean, we had the same problem. Administrators wanted to be administrators, and they just administrated it too friggin' much, like micromanaging or whatever. And you end up doing all these side tasks, and then they would take you away from the production that they already wanted from you, but they'd be wasting your time with all these other things. And all you want, all the meanwhile, you're thinking about, I got to get all this stuff done. I got to get this stuff done. Let me go do it. So that was the result of Microsoft study.
It's kind of interesting. Like
Okay.
a lot of these big companies have done studies like that, including Microsoft, of course. Partly why they're trying to decide if people should come back to actually work in the office. Because a lot of that bullshit collaboration time, all those stupid meetings, like, yeah, don't get me wrong, it's nice to be able to collaborate once in a while, but if you're getting your job done, who cares if you get it done in 2 hours versus an 8-hour day?
Yeah.
It's partly why the 4-hour, at least not 4-hour, the 4-day work week is starting to become a thing, because they've done studies where most people don't get shit done on a Friday because they're tired, they're done for the week.
Oh yeah.
You're just like.
Yeah. You're good. You're good from maybe part of Monday to Wednesday.
You're just like, all right. Turns out what I'm doing is bullshit. Who cares anymore?
Yeah.
Hopefully, in addition to the technological revolution that we're in the middle of, hopefully, from a societal and emotional and individualistic level, there'll be some other major changes. Because definitely more to life than working.
Yep.
But people also like to work, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, yeah, they like people to feel they get stuff done.
Work-life balance.
Yeah, they would. Yeah. People, at least in my opinion, if you gave them money, people would be happy for a little bit, and a lot of people experienced this during the pandemic. It's nice to have a break, but at some point, you want to do something with your life. You want to feel accomplished.
Yeah, yeah. And that brings another result of the study is that people want meaningful work.
Exactly. They don't want busy work. If they get their job done, they don't want to get more bullshit work.
Yeah.
What a busy work. Yeah, it's bullshit. Yeah. All of it.
It sounds so obvious, but administrators like to administer, and they should just step out of the way sometimes.
They want to feel useful because they know they're useless.
Yeah. Okay, on to the next subject. I was going to lead it off with a question, but I think you already know the answer. What is one of the best tools for predicting COVID-19 and other virus outbreaks?
Sewers.
Ooh.
Sewers, exactly. Yeah.
Wastewater.
Evidently, even before COVID, there were scientists trying to get money for this purpose of regularly taking samples of sewage and testing for viruses, because the idea is that it's like the canary. You're going to find signs that there's going to be an outbreak, and your health system is going to be hit by these things. You'll find it in sewage quite a ways before you'll see it in the hospitals. They've even gone back and done studies. I think it was in Spain and a couple other places where COVID was showing up in the sewage a long time before it was initially reported in Europe. It was there.
Could see that.
So there was this virologist, Helene Norder at University of Gothenburg. She's one of the ones who pushed to use advanced wastewater monitoring research for years. That's not just, of course, that was before COVID, for influenza, rotavirus, adenovirus, norovirus, in wastewater, but they couldn't get funding before. But now it seems to be taken more seriously, and actually a lot of communities now are starting to do this regularly, taking samples like twice a week. There, in Sweden, in 2013, a peak in norovirus. I don't know if you've ever had norovirus. It's not fun. It's not as deadly as maybe as influenza, but you think you've got influenza. It's called the vomiting bug. You can get it. Most of the time, you'll get it from food, contaminated food. But anyways, they had a lot of it. They found a lot of it in the sewage in 2013, and that was 2 weeks before infected patients were diagnosed in hospitals and elder care centers. So a 2-week warning is not a bad warning.
That's pretty good.
It gives you time to ramp everything up.
Mm-hmm. And then in the Netherlands, they found SARS-CoV-2 RNA in untreated water 6 days before the country's first cases. That's not as big a lead time, but I don't know.
6 days.
Yeah, and I don't know how far ahead of 6 days they were testing. Maybe they tested as a response to knowing about COVID, so then they tested for COVID. Maybe it's just when it happened for them.
Right.
In Guadalupe, I guess that's Guadalupe. That's Mexico, I believe, or is that Arizona?
I mean, there is a Guadalupe, but I'm sure they're talking Mexico.
Yeah. Well, because the reason I said this, an environmental engineer in Arizona was doing wastewater monitoring to track opioid consumption in Tempe. I know they also find high quantities of antibiotics in the wastewater as well. They could find out whether doctors are prescribing too many antibiotics. But anyways, they were checking for influenza, but then they pivoted to look for SARS-CoV, and they identified an infection hotspot in Guadalupe, which was a predominantly Hispanic and Native American town, where testing was lacking for COVID. And that enabled them to give a fast response from community health workers to get in there and test and treat COVID. So that's pretty well it. I mean, it's okay.
Well, something that that's actually kind of interesting. What I was thinking about the other day, ironically, is the COVID pandemic was kind of like the first real pandemic, modern pandemic. Mm-hmm. So a lot of modern techniques were applied in terms of obviously tracing, prediction, stuff like that, different models, stuff like that. It's super cool to think if humans ever learn, like if the data that we've learned from this, maybe we can do some stuff with that in the future, maybe prevent people to needlessly die. Unlikely, but it's a nice thought.
You combine it with geographical mapping. Some people say, there might be a privacy concern. The neighborhood could be stigmatized because you find, more cocaine in the sewage or something. Or
then maybe we would treat it like a health problem and be like, maybe we can help people. Yeah. Made a concept. Yeah. But again,
allocation of resources, apply it to GIS and attack the problem where it's most.
Humans are really good at responding at one point. Like when it gets really bad, humans are pretty good about responding. But in terms of preparing, nope, we're terrible at it as a society. Yep. It's pretty bad.
Reactive rather than proactive.
Yeah. But
that's there's my positive subject and my shitty subject all wrapped up together.
Very punny. Very punny.
Yeah. So,
but what isn't shitty?
is becoming a summoner.
Yes.
Fucking necromancer.
Yes.
Table.
Yeah, I have a 3D printer.
Yes.
Oh, really?
So,
which
I didn't
one?
know you had a 3D printer. This is news to me. Sorry.
Oh, you have one too, Tim?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. See, that's news to me.
Yeah. Is it
sitting to my right? It's Creality one.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Nice.
Is that a resin or a filament?
Oh, it's a filament. Yeah.
Okay. What's the build space on it like?
Don't ask me specs. I can't remember.
Okay.
I haven't used it for a while now. I could move the camera. That's about it. Yeah.
Okay. So the one I have is the Monoprice Mini.
Oh.
Select Mini version 2.
Its ears are burning.
Yeah.
Beep,
It's
beep.
making all sorts of noises behind me. I apologize in advance for what I'm sure is terrible audio quality on my end. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun figuring it out. So the whole reason I got
a lot of trial and error.
Yes. Lot of trial and error, a lot of trying different things, a lot of catching prints as they fail and going, okay, so it failed this way at this spot. What is wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of learning. Like there are so many different filament types. It is crazy. So you've got your standard PLA, which is polylactic acid. Yeah.
There's another type of PLA that I find is better, and I can't remember the name, but you're probably going to bring it up next, right?
Well, there's like straight PLA, then there's like PLA plus, where they add in some different chemicals and stuff to make it more pliable. Then you've got TPU, which is like your kind of softer, almost rubbery like stuff.
Hard to print, really hard to print.
I've heard that. I'm getting my first spool of that in later this week because I'm going to try and do some stuff with it. I'm hoping to eventually print out some tires for my electric skateboard, because they're the replacement tires for my electric skateboard. The rears, because it's a hub drive, aren't actually even in stock. They've been out of stock for a month and a half now. The fronts are in stock, but they're $80. The rears, when they're in stock, are $90. And it's like, I bet I could just like pop the rubber off, print something out, get it onto it. Maybe it would work. I don't know. It's something I'm going to have to play with and do a lot of low speed testing.
Sorry, you asked for bed size in my printer? Do you want? Yeah. I can only give it to you in millimeters, though.
That's fine.
235 by 235 by 250.
235.
Is that?
So like 7 by 7 by 8?
9 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9 inches by 9 inches by probably like 10 or something. That's actually a
pretty significant.
Pretty
actually.
decent. Yeah.
Bigger than Brandon's current one.
Bigger than my current one, yeah. My current one is...
Mine's bigger than yours.
But you know how to use it, though. Anyways.
Yeah, my current one
But I got a new edition.
120 millimeters by 120 millimeters by like, I think, 150. The new one that I'm getting is the
gotta measure it in meters.
I would love to
Almost.
I would love to make figurines, but it's hard to get. I can do them, but it's hard to get model paints here. Proper model paints.
Gotcha.
It's not a hobby country.
For me, I have no interest in doing figurines. I don't have interest in painting little things. But in terms of the utility of a 3D printer, oh god, yes, it would be much easier.
You can combine it with Tinkercad or Fusion 360, and
fucking world's your oyster.
To learn. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the new one I'm getting is the Anycubic Chiron. It is a 400 by 400 by 450 millimeter.
Wow.
So for us Imperial unit users, that's 15 3/4 of an inch by 15 3/4 of an inch by 17 3/4 of an inch.
Huge.
Massive.
Have you printed PVC yet?
I haven't printed PVC.
Yeah, I have problems trying to do that too. Yeah.
No,
you need a really controlled environment, and because of my climate here is humid and is hot. I'm not going to run an AC in this room for 3 days to print something, and you almost need a tent to go over your 3D printer.
Yeah,
to get the temperatures.
When you're printing in that ABS or straight nylon, you have to really temperature control. Supposedly this new one, because the bed temp gets to 100 Celsius, supposedly ABS will actually print on it without needing an enclosure. I'm gonna try.
ABS, that's what
Yeah. The hot end on it doesn't get hot enough to actually do straight nylon, but nylon is such a pain in the rear anyway. It's not worth it to me. PLA and then the impregnated PLAs are kind of mostly what I want to print in, and then ABS and TPU. I've actually got a spool of wood impregnated PLA, and that's been really interesting. I've only been able to do little prints on it so far. It's really finicky on bed temperatures and hot end temperatures, so I've had a lot of failures with it.
Yeah, we'll talk offline, and I can tell you a PLA that it works quite well for me in the future. But we can talk offline. I don't want to take away from your summoner. You haven't got the summoner yet.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things I've been using it for is actually for our video watchers behind me. That's actually all stuff that I printed out. So behind me is two little skeletons. They're 28 millimeter scale, which is kind of like standard paper RPG sizing.
How do they compare to regular army men? Bigger or smaller?
Probably about the same size, maybe a little smaller.
I notice you got a lot of lines on those prints, though. I mean, you can probably do it. Change your settings to get rid of those.
Yeah, and part of it is the angle I'm printing everything out at. I'm not.
Are you not perfectly flat?
No, it is perfectly flat.
Ah.
But if I angled it, it would do better. So this is the size of one of those little pieces.
Yeah.
And I've got a bunch of them that I've printed out. I've only painted 2 so far. And then here's the little wood tokens I was kind of talking about. They've got the different D&D classes on them. I ran a one-shot with 2 newbies and 1... The other guy has never played just straight D&D. It was a very homebrew space thing that we all played together.
My towel holder.
Oh, nice.
And you see,
Very nice.
You don't really see any lines on it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking you got to tweak a setting.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, see, like on my latest print.
Okay.
This is 150% size. Because he's kind of the
big baddie.
He's going to be the evil guy. He's going to be the big bad.
Yeah.
But this is actually one of my former played characters in a different D&D campaign.
Nice.
Yeah. So
it's both fun and frustrating to do 3D printing.
It is. And I am an awful... I am not an artist. I don't draw. I don't paint. I don't whittle. Music and programming. That's my like creative outlet. And so trying to paint these little tiny figures and like carefully cut out all the scaffolding and supports and like it has been an exercise in patience.
Yeah.
And like you can see, I've got so many like little overages and errors, like just on the 2 that I've painted already, and I haven't completed the base yet. And I need to give them like little black dots in their eye sockets and just stuff like that to make it a little better.
Okay.
And I haven't even tried like painting something that I actually kind of want to be proud of at the end. But it's just been a really interesting experience so far. And like you can print out little, pardon me, little minifigures, but then you can also like print out these like automatic counters that auto roll up. It's just like the stuff you can do.
Oh, there's so much stuff online.
What was the term you said earlier? Print in place or whatever?
Yeah, print in place. And like the counter definitely isn't printed in place. This was seven separate pieces.
It'd be nice if actual photo scanners, like scanners, there's some really neat scanners out there right now that can do a really phenomenal job and good high resolution. I mean, you put your object on a turntable and just scan the whole thing. But those are still quite pricey.
They are
the good ones, and the cheap ones aren't worth buying.
No, you can. So I actually bought a Kinect camera a couple years back. It was in a thrift store somewhere where I was at, and it was just like, oh, I'm gonna get this because I know that there's a way to hook that up to a computer and then be able to import 3D models using a.
Can't the iPhone do it too? Evidently.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things in the iPhone AR kit or whatever. Samsung, my Note 10 for a little while, like you could try and scan an object in that way too. Yeah. I don't know. I've also been learning Autodesk. What is it? Autodesk
Fusion 360. Yeah.
So like I actually made in Autodesk, like I actually from nothing made a little Post-it holder with a little pin silo and crap catcher. And that's been kind of fun. And then tried printing out a I've been calling it a bike saver, but basically this goes underneath the foot peg, so that when you park on sand or gravel with your motorcycle, this is the first prototype, and it didn't actually print this in. This is scaffolding, so you could actually like rip that off pretty easily, and it's way too small. Even the Mark II, which is bigger, the biggest I could print on my current printer isn't enough. And it's actually started to, like, I've only had it under my bike for 2 weeks at this point, but it's already like starting to try and warp around.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's definitely a part I need to print out in ABS, because I think the heat is partly deforming.
Yeah, PLA is UV light will kill PLA.
Oh yeah.
ABS is much better for that type of thing.
Yep. Yeah,
But
so
hard
that's
to print.
That's been kind of what I've been doing, and I've been printing out. Like, one of the coolest things about like having a 3D printer is like you get the base 3D printer, and then it's like the community just comes together and is like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, if you print out these parts and then buy this $5 part off of Amazon, you have
That's
a
the
better
coolest
printer.
thing about the entire thing, is that you can print parts to make your printer better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So like, I've got the pieces here to actually do a hot end swap, and so it basically adds a spot for the layer fan. It's got holes in it so that you can run LED lights, and then you can actually put a standard version 6 hot end, which will allow this little monoprice printer to better print out PLA and ABS, but also allow the hot end to go hot enough to run PETG out of it.
Yeah, you're talking about the community. There's even for my printer, there's a better operating system. They call it the community operating system.
Oh yeah,
and it's better than the original software operating system that came.
Definitely I mean, it makes sense, but it's definitely a very do-it-yourself kind of communities in general, because a lot of the firmware is open source. A lot of the like models that you can print and things are just available.
Yeah, it's
cool. It's very cool culture.
Yeah. The funny thing is though, people think it's still plug and play and print. It's definitely not.
No.
It's a skill.
There are some of the smaller resin printers. So like if all you wanted to do was print something and like this was the biggest you ever wanted to print.
Yeah.
And you wanted to do minis, there's actually some resin printers for like $250 that do this size, and they have auto leveling and a bunch of features, and they really are about the closest you can get to plug, play, refill resin. But yeah, even that, like there's going to be a learning curve for, okay, is this model going to need supports? Is this model not going to need supports? How do I get all the supports out? And then even then, once you get the final product out, you're going to have to paint it, sand it.
There's bed temperature. There's head temperature. You'll find this one your model doesn't stick. It's going to get a fool around with your bed temp. And every different manufacturer's filament
is very different.
Changes the game.
Yeah. So far, I've been buying Hatchbox because it's pretty reasonably priced, and all of the reviews for it are pretty good. So I've got Hatchbox, ABS, PLA, and then the wood PLA.
Coolest thing I've seen.
eSun. ESUN. eSun.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard that's pretty good too.
Like the thing I saw that I wanted to print, if for some weird reason, if I had a printer, when I get a printer, one day I'll get one, is like it's just basically a phone stand, but it's like with an internal gear that's already that you can change the angle, and it's super super intricate, super cool, and it's just all printed in place. It's all one thing, but it's just you turn a knob and it moves everything very very systematically, and I'm like, I kind of want that. I have no need for it, but I want it because it's cool.
Yeah. So I will show you the whole reason that got me onto a 3D printer is that right there.
A holder for your laptop?
Literally some mounts to mount my work laptop to the wall. Because my personal laptop already has its prime spot. So I needed somewhere that I could run KVM and everything else to, since I now work from home, up to my work laptop. And when I'm actually doing work, I actually flip the lid open for better cooling. But today was just training, so I didn't even worry about firing up my work laptop. I just did it off my personal laptop. But those mounts, 3D printed and everything, like you can see the lines and everything on Amazon, were like $30 for the pair. And it's like, that's silly. They're 3D printed. Surely I can find something on Thingiverse.
Yeah.
And have... So that printer used to belong to one of our mutual friends, Penn. But when he moved, he lost the power cable for it. He's been in that place for almost a year and a half now and has never repurchased a power cable for it. And so when I found the files and I was like, hey, can you print these out? I'll pay you for filament. And he's like, oh, I lost the power supply from my 3D printer. And I'm like, are you going to buy another power supply for it? Or like, can I buy it from you and then I'll buy the power supply? Or like something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, I'd sell it to you. And so I got it for dirt cheap. And I am about double into it than what it would have cost me to print out those stands. Or just buy the stands. But I've got the stands and a bunch of like little mini figures, and I've been doing it's like, here, I'll kind of show you. Like, this is a wall dungeon corner that's like fresh off the printer, still has the berm attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next step is cutting the berm off and then primering it.
Yeah.
And then the final is to actually like paint it and do like all the little detailing and stuff like that. But like I've got all of that. But one of the coolest things that I've done, and I'm so glad that Luke hasn't been keeping up on the podcast because I can show this without ruining his surprise, is called lithography. And this isn't really coming out well. Hold on.
Turn off your lights.
So.
Nope. Turn off your show lights.
Nope.
Yes, you'll see it better.
This is what I know.
Oh.
But this is what it looks like just when lit from the front. But you light it from the back, and it basically becomes a grayscale photo.
Yeah, they got some neat lamps like that that do that. I've seen those. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and that's actually part of what is printing right now on the printer behind me. Is the actual holder for this. So it's going to have 4 sides. I've actually got the failed portion of it. See, it started to lift on this side, and then it just kind of borked everything. But 4 sides, you'll be able to slide in your frame, and then you put the top on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a solar lamp. So it's going to solar charge through the day in his window, and then at night there will be a little LED powered by a little rechargeable cell that is recharged by solar, and it's just going to be kind of like this little cool picture box nightlight thing.
Nice.
I just pulled something out of the drawer. Some completely useless things I printed that are sitting in the drawer, and I'm going to throw them out one day because I have no absolute use for them.
Oh, okay.
A Gandalf bust.
Yep.
And because everybody needs one of these on their desk, it's a Neanderthal skull.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Even with the damage, I guess, from whatever one they used to scan it.
Yeah. Oh.
See, the only thing that would make that better is if you could. Well, I guess you could. You could 3D print the hinge for the jaw so it opens. So you can have it do. Talking.
Yeah.
Does it? Please tell me it opens.
No, this one doesn't.
Do it.
This one doesn't, but it'd be easy. It's easy, but what the thing about 3D printing is the file that this is in, I can bring it into Fusion 360 and then modify it.
Mm-hmm.
Really easy. Yeah. Well, not really easy. There's the learning curve for sure.
No, it's 3D printing is just
I even tried the crest. I took a what do you call it?
Oh.
Yeah, I took a graphic what's that file format? PNG?
PNG.
Yeah.
Portable network graphic.
And I brought it into the software and was able to print a wall plaque.
That's awesome.
And then I put my own badge number on the top.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A lot of fun things you can do. But you end up wasting a lot of time, too.
Oh, yeah.
The hobbies. All hobbies are a waste of time in some way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's gone so far from where it was, like, even 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 5 years ago, that's when 3D printers really started to get cheap enough that people were getting them.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I know the people I knew at that point that had 3D printers, it was like, oh, I'm going to make this case for my Raspberry Pi, or I'm going to do this. And then they do like 3 or 4 projects, and then it just sits and collects dust. And they're like, yeah, it doesn't, it's a fun toy, but it just doesn't have any practical use.
Oh.
And it's like, what do you mean? And for a little while, back when I was still married, I had an agreement with my now ex that if I could come up with 100 different things that I was going to print that had some sort of useful application, I could go out and buy a 3D printer. And like, I kept coming up with all these like little replacement parts and shit for different cars and our vacuum and like stuff like that. And I kind of stalled out like around 50. And I was just like, yeah, but there's just so much other little cool stuff that you can do, and like little toys that we could print out for Luke and like stuff like that. And it was always a no. And it's like, well, damn it. Now that I have this, and I don't know, except for a couple hours here and there that, a print has finished and I've either been asleep or away. This thing has been going nonstop since I got it.
I just wish I had the initiative. Have you heard of I think it's called Octopi?
Yeah.
You can run your...
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, you can...
And you can put a camera on it so that you know that when it fails, if it fails, that you don't have a spaghetti... See, if a print fails badly, depending on how it fails, you can end up having... It could take 3 days to print. And you're printing it at night when you're asleep as well. And if it fails, you end up getting this spaghetti, which can actually end up jamming your printer and ruining your printer. Spaghetti, a filament coming out all over the place because it failed. Yeah.
Yep. I've seen some pretty epic failures. I've so far caught all of mine fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. And most of mine are bed adhesion issues, like just stuff popping off that shouldn't pop off.
I find the best thing everybody says use alcohol or use this and that. I find the best thing to do is to take, or at least for the type of bed I have, is to take it to the sink, wash it with soap and water, dry it, and then put it back.
Okay.
So evidently the alcohol and other things can make the surface peel on you eventually.
Right. So. This one has had the glass bed upgrade, so it's a straight piece of glass. So this one, it's isopropyl alcohol. My buddy was trying to tell me,
if you have a problem with that, try soap and water. You'd be surprised.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far, the alcohol's been working. When I originally got it, I could tell there was hairspray on it because he oversprayed and like the controls were gummed up with hairspray and everything else. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to have to use hairspray. So I had been using hairspray. And that was what kept releasing my prints. And it's like, something isn't right.
The other thing is your humidity and your filament. You got to control.
Super dry.
You got to control. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't. Yeah. When it's raining outside, inside might get to 30% humidity.
Okay. Yeah, I've had to dry some in the oven.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But I got a camera / humidity controlled cabinet now.
Nice. Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah. So that has been my journey, is lots of 3D printing and
Cool.
lots of like little crafty stuff. And
If you find anything good, let me know. Share the file.
yeah, I've got a lot of cool stuff.
Put it on your...
Just depends on what you want to do.
Trying to think. Do something with your Docker, your server. Put it on like server. Just host a site with your files. Or put it on the Tech Pirate. Actually, that'd be cool. Just we'll do a whole page of 3D print files.
So on the Tech Pirate, I'd only be able to do what I've actually designed.
Well, yeah.
But
well, you only just started. That's
I've
what
got
I'm saying. You built the damn pen holder thing. Put that on there.
You can put links.
Am I interested?
And the
put it on there.
Thing.
Fuck it.
The other thing I've designed is a fridge magnet that has like a little hook on the bottom of it, and it just takes these little magnets, and I've got the hole just perfect where it's just a press fit. And that was the first thing. No, second thing I designed. I designed this prototype first. And then I designed that magnet, and that magnet one just came out, and I had all the measurements, and I was super nerdy about it, and I'm like, yeah! And then that first just like press, and it's like, yeah.
When I got into doing Fusion 360 for 3D printing, this is one of the first things I bought.
Caliper. Yup.
Because you want to copy a piece, you got to go measure it.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing that confused me at first, was like what sizing the grid was on Fusion. Because when I designed this, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna bloop, 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 bloop. And it should actually be 4 times larger. This is 25% scale.
Oh wow.
To fit on my
huge.
printer. Yeah, I way overdid it. And then every prototype after that I've done, I've actually been able to like, okay, I understand what the grid is now. This is a centimeter. Okay, I want to make it this big by this big. This is how big I need the hole. This is the angles I need.
But if you make a mistake, even you could still use it and just reduce the size in your printer software.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, scale it down. Anyways, I think Colton's falling asleep.
Sorry,
I mean,
Colton.
I'm into 3D printers. I just don't have one. I'm like, cool. Yeah. You feel that filament, baby.
If I hadn't already promised this to my ex-coworker,
I'll find.
I would send it to you.
Nah, we'll find
they're
one.
really not that bad. You can buy a new one right now for mono price for under $200.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna get one. Just
get it.
There's so many things. I just got into drones.
Get it.
So
all the more reason.
Yeah,
That's part of why I got the big one. That's part of why I got the big machine. Is it's like, fuck it. I want to get into first person drone stuff because there's some really cool stuff just around that I would love to get better pictures and better angles and flyovers and cool stuff of. But it's like, I don't want to buy all these parts and then go out and fly it and break it, because I'm gonna fucking break it, and then have to wait for a week or 2 weeks for parts to come in. Like, I don't want that. I want to be able to be like, hey, I've got 20 more propellers printed out in a bag ready to go. Hey, here's, this frame piece here. All I need is 15 minutes of field time, and I'm back up and running. So I plan on fully printing out as much as I can for my drone build.
Good.
I've already got a couple of drones picked out, and they're 5-inch props. Because I'm going to go... Have you played a lot in... what is that game? Liftoff.
Oh,
yeah?
Oh, yeah.
So what size drone did you go with?
Just the 5-inch.
Okay. Yours is a 5-inch too?
Just the standard. Well, I mean, I have a DJI, so It's not really.
Oh, okay.
It's not a pre-build. But yeah, I like the 5-inch size.
Yeah. So do I. It's
huge.
It's more floaty and drifty. And it feels, I don't know. I have this problem in Star Citizen where if the ship doesn't feel like it has mass, I can't fly it. Like, if it doesn't have junk in the trunk, I am going to be smashing into rocks. If it has junk in the trunk, then I'm going to be drifting that through canyons and like, yeah.
Maybe we could play Star Citizen for our Way Out Wednesday thing as we do our pluggables for the end of the episode.
Oh, yes. Yes. I still need to get my streaming PC actually finished set up. I guess maybe that's something I can do tomorrow.
There you go.
For Tuesday. Okay. But as you said, pluggables. Tim, where can we find you?
Facebook page, Our Thai Journey. YouTube, Our Thai Journey. That's it.
Excellent. Colton, where can we find you?
Name is Colton Roper. I go by Seeker4761 on all the socials. YouTube channel, Seeker4761. Twitter, Seeker4761. Twitch, Seeker4761. Just search it. You'll probably find something. Probably even go to the Tech Pirate because it's the gaming handle there. Just my thing. Like I said, also stream pretty regularly on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Seeker4761 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and maybe starting a Saturday thing because my schedule is relatively normal now. Yeah. But Brandon, what about you?
All right. I'm Brandon Vader, also known as Captain Dracanis. You can find me on thetechpirate.net, where I'm going to start posting more regularly. I keep saying that, but damn it, I'm going to do it. And then you can also find me on Twitch as twitch.tv/Captain Dracanis, where I'm going to get better about doing Wednesday stuff. I haven't been doing Wednesday stuff, and I need to.
No comment.
So, yeah. Sorry.
That's all right.
I've been very bad. But all of you have been wonderful. Thank you for joining us on this episode of This Week I'm Learning. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts, as well as on YouTube as This Week I'm Learning. For you social media peeps out there, you can find us on Twitter at ThisTWIL. If you'd like to contact us, you can, of course, send an email to twill@thetechpirate.net. We will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Minutes
I'm
of printing.
nerding out so hard.
God damn it.
I am nerding out so hard.
It just
It's
made
not
me
even
laugh.
funny.
I'm like, we're an audio medium, boys. It's cool. No one's going to know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I will make sure that... So, the big printer is not going to fit on my dresser.
I was going to say, where the hell are you even going to put that thing? You're going to have to print
on
the
top
desk.
of the server rack.
Oh.
All right. That's actually a good spot for it. Yeah.
Is it
Yep.
your server rack won't move at all? Okay.
No.
God, I
Nope.
hope not. That thing's huge.
And filled to the gills.
It's an anchor. Tie yourself up in that in a storm.
Hide inside of it.
Is the server in the living room?
Yeah.
God damn it. You and your home
It's going to be
lab.
interesting trying to watch TV. in your living room
you have to crank it.
You have to invest in a
little bit.
couple of just a bunch of like noise canceling headphones, and I'm actually not a bad idea. Now that I think about it.